Okay, the next chapter is basically bones and bone tissue. When you put together the skeletal tissue, you're going to get bones. When you put together all the bones, you're going to get the skeleton. And it has, as you can see here, functions. One of the functions is support, right? Support your whole entire body with the vertebral column and your limbs. Next one is going to be protection. For example, we have the thoracic cavity, and your thoracic cavity is going to protect your heart. Same thing happens with the skull and the brain. Next one, movement. Bones are attached to muscles, and the muscles move. The muscles that are attached to the bones are going to be called skeletal muscles. Next item that we have is the electrolyte balance. The skeleton has a lot of calcium and phosphate, and that can influence the electrolyte balance that you have in your body. Next one is acid base. The acid base balance are controlled with buffers, and phosphate is a very important buffer. Since you have phosphate in your bones, it will play a role in maintaining the acid base balance. Blood formation. So inside the bone, you have the bone marrow, and the bone marrow produces the red blood cells. The bones can have multiple different shapes. For example, flat bones, long bones, short bones, and irregular bones. Based on the structure, basically what they are composed of, what they are made of, then we can say that we have compact bone right here, which is the bone that you have on the outside. And then the other one is going to be a spongy bone, which is the bone that you have on the inside, right? Like in a chicken bone, the outside is compact, the inside is spongy. In this figure, you can clearly see that the outside, all this area, the outside is going to be compact. The inside is spongy. In the case of long bones, the top of the bone is the epiphysis, the middle of the bone is the diaphysis, and the bottom of the bone, again, is going to be epiphysis. So there are two epiphyses and one diaphysis. This is the femur. This epiphysis is the one that is going to be closer to your body, so therefore this is going to be the proximal epiphysis, and this one is going to be far away from your body compared to the other epiphysis, so therefore this is going to be the distal epiphysis. And the bones also have different layers. The outside of the bone is called periosteum, right here, and the inside of the bone is called endosteum. At the top, you're going to have an epiphyseal plate, which is the area where we are going to grow the bone in length. Same way that we have the long bones, we can have flat bones. You can see here, compact, spongy, at the bottom again, compact. Another name for that is diploid, as you can see here. So let's keep going. And that's about it for this part. So the next item is histology. Again, we need to talk about the cells. So there are four main cells in your bones. The first one right here is osteogenic cells. Osteogenic cells are stem cells that are going to be capable of giving you other kinds of cells, such as, for example, the osteoblast. The osteoblast is the one that is going to build the bone. Then we keep going down. The next one is osteocyte. Osteocytes are osteoblasts that have become trapped in the bone once the osteoblast build the bone. So we keep scrolling down, and the next one that we're going to have is the osteoclast. The osteoclast is going to destroy the bone. Not only that, but the osteoclast is going to help us reshape our bones. Next, we have the matrix. The matrix is basically made of calcium, but it's not pure calcium, it's actually salt, because it's calcium phosphate, as you can see here. And this is called hydroxyapatite. 80 to 85% of the bone is calcium phosphate, and approximately 10% is calcium carbonate. And obviously, just a few other substances in there, such as, sodium and potassium, but little amounts. The mixture of calcium together with other substances, such as, for example, collagen, makes our bones somewhat flexible as well as very, very, very strong. And let's take a look at what is the structure of the compact bone. So we keep scrolling down right here. We have figures. You can see that the compact bone is built in concentrical structures like this, onion-like structure. You guys see it in here. And in the middle, you're going to have the red, the blue, and the yellow. The red one is an artery, blue is vein, and the yellow one is the nerve. Once there are these three structures in here, the osteoblasts are going to be located around this. That's why it takes this shape like this, kind of like round, because this blood vessel right here will provide the blood that these cells are going to need. I said that these are going to be the ones that are going to initiate this, and they're going to build this. It's going to be the osteoblast, but eventually they're going to get trapped inside this structure, which is the matrix, and they're going to become osteocytes. A better view of that is this one right here that we have in black and white, and this area is called the central canal. Around it, in all these black dots right here, that's where all the osteoblasts and eventually osteocytes used to be. And you see it has kind of like this concentrical structure right here. And that's called the lamellae. Each black dot is in a space. That's called the lacunae, where the osteocyte was was inside the lacunae. The whole entire thing, all this, you guys see it right there? So this structure right here is called an osteon. So a whole bunch of osteons, as you can see here, osteon, 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 those are the ones that are going to form the compact bone. Okay, so we keep scrolling down. So the next one is the spongy bone. The spongy bone is basically the formation is very similar, but it's going to form like a spikes and thin wall. See here, spines, rods, spicules, right, or spikes as I call it. And you have thin walls like this one right here, they call it thin plates, are going to be the trabeculae. So all this is going to calcify and is going to become very hard. And that's what's going to be located inside your compact bone. And these are these parts right here. They're called spongy because in the structure, these thin walls and these spikes, they're going to form this structure right here. But in between, you're going to have a whole bunch of holes. And that's why the name of these areas are going to be spongy bone. They're very strong. They're used because they reduce the weight of the bone, right, by having spaces. And also, you're going to have lots and lots of that in the areas where the stress in the bones are going to be located. You can see here, that's the areas where most of the stress is going to be located. That's why you have lots and lots of it in there. We keep going down. And obviously, what is this space that we have right here for? This space is for us to put the bone marrow. There are two kinds of bone marrow. It's going to be called red bone marrow because that's the area where the red blood cells are going to be created. They produce blood. And you also have yellow bone marrow. The yellow bone marrow is just fat that we have in there. So if you scroll down, you can see here, for example, areas where you have red bone marrow and the areas where you have yellow bone marrow. So if we keep scrolling down, well, I guess that's it for this part.